Today we're going to be making homemade lasagna. For this we're going to need 1 box of lasagna pasta, 1 small tub of ricotta cheese, a big 28 ounce of crushed tomatoes, as well as a 15 ounce, this is 14 and a half, but 15 ounce of crushed tomatoes, 12 ounces of tomato paste, about 4 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese. This is freshly shredded, but you can use the back stuff. About 1 cup of grated Parmesan, 1 whole onion, a bunch of garlic cloves, and 1 egg. Also, about 1.5 to 2 pounds of ground meat. You can use really anything for this. Today we're using a mix of ground beef and ground mild Italian sausage. Okay, we're gonna start off by cutting our onion. So this is already peeled, obviously. We're gonna cut this right in half through the root, keeping the root nice and intact. Then we're gonna take our onion and we are going to make a bunch of lines, just like that. Then 1 line across. Just gonna do the same to the other half before I start chopping it more. And right in half again. You can even go a second time since this half is, they're not quite even. And now we're just gonna cut against what we just did. And we are dicing this onion nicely. Nice and fast, as you can see. A couple more lines, boom. And then across this way. There's half our onion already cut. As you can see, we're making a bit of a mess here, but that's all right. Take this little heart out, or the core, whatever it is. And there we go. That is our onion cut. We are also gonna wanna cut up our garlic. Sorry, didn't notice the recording stopped. We squashed our garlic a little bit with our knife, just like this, in order to make it easier to mince afterwards. Just gonna pound it up, give it a nice chop across. We're already getting a bunch of little pieces. Do the same thing with that one. All right, put it in the pile. Just kind of like this. Scrape your knife. Get this big piece out the way. Let's make sure this is nice and small. Took a minute, but our garlic is nice and chopped up. Now, our next step is, after we wash our hands, to season our meat. Gonna go in with some salt. A nice bit, good amount of salt. garlic powder, good amount as well. Some paprika. Ran out of paprika, unfortunately. And a couple crushed red peppers. And finally, some regular brown pepper. Received a little tumble there. That's because I don't have a phone stand. I'm just using 4 cups, so sorry about that. Now we gotta get our hands dirty. Mix this all up. Now this meat also has been sitting out on the counter for about 30 to 40 minutes before I did this. Doesn't really matter how long it sits out for before you season it. But it's always better that your meat is a little closer to room temperature before you cook it. That allows you to get a little bit better of a sear and just a better overall end product. I'm going to break this up a little bit so that when we start cooking it, it's not just one big glump. And it can cook a little faster, a little more evenly. Just break it up. And obviously we'll break more up as we cook it with our spatula. All right. Wash your hands again. Nice and dry. All right, next step is to do something we should have done earlier to preheat our Dutch oven. You don't really need a Dutch oven. I just prefer to use one. You can use any big pan for this. We have another pan over here with a pot, big pot. Another pot over here with water in it that we're also going to start boiling for our pasta so it could be ready for us. This is unseasoned so far, but we will add some oil in here before we start cooking. Keeping the lid on is going to help us heat this thing up a little bit faster because it traps the heat. I'll see you in a couple minutes as soon as this is all heated up. All right, our pan is still heating up, but we're going to do a little bit of prep here. First step is going to be to crack an egg. Boop. And mix in our ricotta cheese. We're going to do the whole container here because it's supposed to be 1 egg per pound of ricotta cheese. This is a 15-ounce container, so, close enough. 1 ounce away is not going to make a crazy difference here. We might not end up using this entire mixture, but it is what it is, unfortunately. I think we'll use probably most of it, though. So this egg and this ricotta cheese is going to help give kind of like that classic thick cheese layer that lasagna is known for. You usually see it in the middle parts. Sometimes lasagna, however, instead of ricotta cheese, is made with bechamel. And in that case, you wouldn't have to add an extra egg or anything in there because the bechamel is the thickening agent that makes the mozzarella and the Parmesan a little bit thicker. We're also going to add some salt and pepper to this to season it nicely. I'm going to use a little bit of garlic salt, mostly because my salt shaker is nowhere to be found at the moment, but that's okay. Garlic salt works just as good, adds a little bit of a garlicky flavor. Add some pepper to this. We are also going to add a little bit of provincial herbs. It's not quite exactly what you're looking for this, so that's why we're only going to add a little bit. The best option would be dried parsley if you have it. I didn't include it in the recipe at the beginning, mainly because I didn't have it, and it's honestly not quite necessary. This is just to add a little bit more flavor profile. It's really not necessary. Like, if you don't have it, don't go buy this for this recipe. That'd be stupid. Just a little bit. All right. We've got a ricotta cheese mixture, nice and ready. The next step is going to be to open up our cans, if I can find the can opener. There it is. Get our egg out of sight, taken care of. It's nice and fun. You get to watch me open cans. How lucky are you? Tomato paste. Try not to splash stuff everywhere here. Apologize for the video cutting in and out. I keep getting phone calls and making my video stop. Alright, we got all this prep done over here. Let's go back over to our Dutch oven that is nice and hot now. Now, we're not really going to need the lid for this other than to heat it up, so you can set that aside wherever you'd like. Out of sight, out of mind. Let's get our meat and a nice spatula. Get ready to cook here. Now, we're only going to put a tiny bit of oil in this pan because our meat is already going to be pretty greasy. So just a little fillet right there. Just like that. Going to give it a good old mix around just so the bottom is coated. And then we're just going to get our meat right in here. Try to keep it a little spread out. Slide on. There we go. Gonna move this, push it down a little bit so you get some good browning on this. Just like that. Let it cook. Our pasta water is almost boiling. I forgot to salt it. Never forget to salt your pasta water like I just did. Give it a good salting right here. Lots of salt. Always lots of salt. Almost time to add this in. Just keep letting this cook. Let's give it a little mix here. Break it up some more. Breaking it up. Just let this cook a little longer and then we'll break it up some more. In the meantime, we can move over here to our pasta. Now, these lasagnas are thin. So in a regular 13 by 9 pan, which is what one of these is, See how much space that takes up? It takes 3 lasagnas to fill up 1 layer. So keep that in mind. You know, if you already know how many layers you want to do, then go for it and count them out, you know, but we're not exactly sure, so we're just gonna kind of do the whole box over here. It's my first time making lasagna, so I'm not exactly fully sure what I'm doing, you know. We kind of glanced at an online recipe real quick, so, you know, I want to err on the safer side. So we got 2 layers there. This is 3 layers. This is 4. This is 5. Whoops, a little broken piece. 5 layers. Okay, box comes with 6 layers worth. I don't think we need 6 layers. I think 5 should be enough, because we'll probably end up doing more like 4. Just gonna put these right in here. Kind of like spaghetti, you're gonna wanna just let them fall into the pan on their own here. It takes about 11 minutes for them to get to the right firmness. So set yourself a timer. We want to be very careful here as to not break these. Should have looked up how to cook lasagna before making this video. But I'm just going to be careful, and I'm just going to let the bottoms soften nice by themselves. Just spread this out a little bit. Maybe, you know, splash them up. Looks like they're starting to fall in, but they need another. Taking a couple moments here. Alright, and make sure you're using a different spatula to mix in your water. Just because, you know, we're mixing with raw beef, so it's better to have 2 spatulas. We'll let that cook in the background. Come back over here. Gonna give this a good stir. Chop, chop, chop. Break it all up. 2-hand this bitch. Give this just some movement. There we go. We're finally getting somewhere. You know, a good idea would have been to use a bigger pot if you have one, in order to be able to fully submerge your lasagnas. Or maybe, you know, put a little more water in there. A bunch of things I could have done better. So, but look, it'll turn out okay. Most of them are already submerged in the water, so we're good there. Give it another couple minutes. Maybe I could, you know, pick one up and just give it a, help it out like that. There we go, look at that. Oops, almost mixed them up. Just like that. Alright. Boom. This definitely is an overcrowded pan. It's going to require some finessing. Use a bigger pot, use more water, because this is a lot of pasta and not a lot of water. But it'll be fine. I'm going to keep breaking this meat up here. Keep stirring it too. That kind of helps nothing burn. But we want this to be, well, you know, in your lasagna, you don't have big chunks of meat. It's usually a nice broken up sauce. So you kind of gotta go crazy here and just break things up with your spoon as you go. It's almost time to add our onion and garlic in here. You know what? Actually, it is time to add our onion and garlic in here. Start with the onion first. Get this onion nice and sweated out. In the meantime, we'll keep breaking up this beef. See, our pasta too is looking good. It's all nice and soaked through now. So we are making progress. Oh, I got them all sideways. Look at that. That looks cool. Look at that. I didn't even do that on purpose. I just stirred it. Oops. Fell in the cup. Alright. Stir, stir, stir. Chop, chop, chop. Let's get everything nice and cooked down over here. Don't want any big chunks. Still have a lot of big chunks. I'm gonna get another one. Oops. Chop, chop, chop. This is looking good. Look at that. A little break, stir your pasta. Give it a good stir. Now, pasta has been cooking for only 6 minutes, but it's important, to keep your eye on the clock. We still got time, but it's always important to know what's going on. Look at the microwave. Alright. It is time to add in our garlic. So give that a whoop. Always scrape with the back end of your knife, never the front end. You're going to make it dull. Put that in there. Here I've mixed up the spoons. It's okay. These are these. And I'll wash the other one for the pasta. I'm just using 2 for fun, by the way. Just do this with 1. You don't have to stir it every 2 seconds either. You could let her cook for a second. We're gonna wash our other spoon. Our pasta, wrong spoon. Our pasta is boiling very, very nicely over here. I am excited. I think it's gonna work out well. I think our fears from the beginning, being a little too fearful for no reason. Alright, this meat is looking good. Give it one more little chop through. Get that bigger stuff out of here. Scrape your sides down. Alright, let's add some more toppings to this thing. Let's start with our paste. Try to open the backside of this. Wasn't really successful, so usually I would open this and then push down. I don't know why my can opener is not cutting through this side, so just use a knife, kind of scoop it out in a twirly motion. It'll come right out. Gonna have to do a couple, Now this isn't at all necessary to put the tomato paste in first and stir around like this. I just kind of like doing it. I think it adds a little bit, a deeper, more like robust flavor to the tomato paste. But it's absolutely not necessary. You can just dump, at this point you can just dump in your crushed tomatoes and your tomato paste. But I like doing this and cooking it down, browning the tomato paste for a minute or two before doing so. So that's what we're gonna do here. Just let it cook for a minute. Take a sip of your beverage. Always a smart idea to have a beverage while you're cooking. It enhances the creativity. That keep cooking. Our pasta has been in there for about 10 minutes now, so it's time to give her another good stir. Then we're gonna try to take one of them out of here and like give it a little squeeze, just see kind of what we're dealing with. Let it drip a little bit. This is hot. I don't really know how to tell when the lasagna is ready, to be quite frank. These are feeling a little firm. So I think it needs just another minute or so. Alright, stir, stir, stir. This is already getting darker, so I think it's about time to add the rest of the tomato. Alright. Can number 1 of crushed tomato. Can number 2 of crushed tomatoes. Now we're gonna fill these back up. You're gonna fill your 15-ounce can back up with water. Why is it bubbling like that? You see that? You see all those bubbles? Weird. Anyways, fill it up with water. I don't want to use this water. I don't know what happened. Just use a little water to rinse your can out, is basically what I'm saying. That other one looked weird. I think I might have brushed the soap or something like that with it. I don't know. Just dump that in there. Look at how clean that is now. Give this a good stir. And this is our meat sauce. We're going to want to cook this for about 30 minutes. I don't know if I'll make you watch the full 30 of just this cooking. We'll see. I guess you'll find out very soon. But I'll keep it for a couple minutes because we're waiting on our pastas. We're going to want to bring this to a simmer, so you don't even need to turn your heat up. It'll get up there. Just give it a couple minutes. Stir it occasionally. We're going to cook this for about 30 minutes total. We just want to get some of that moisture out of there. Alright. It's been about 13 minutes for our lasagnas. I think they're better now, so I think I'm about ready to take them out. Just gonna take them out and strain them. Just your normal strainer in the sink, nothing fancy. Just rinse the sink out. Alright. That's that. Just put this back over here to cool off. Alright, now you can just set your lasagna noodles aside. let them just do their thing, cool down or whatever. You don't even need to let them cool down, but just until your sauce is done cooking. This is stir. Just leave it. As you can see, our lasagnas is just hanging out over here. We're gonna put them on our cutting board. Boom, that all just stay there. In the meantime, while this sauce right here cooks, I'm gonna do some dishes. So I'll see you soon. All right, as you can see, our sauce has gotten quite thick. Look at that. All right, there's almost no water in here. It's just that tomato or onion in our meat. So we're gonna take our heat and turn it off. We're gonna make some space over here. Grab our pan. Now, if you're cooking this lasagna right after you put it together, you're gonna wanna make sure you have your oven preheated to 375. Or, yeah, 375. If you're not, like I am, then, you know, don't worry about it now, but otherwise, preheat that oven. All right, what we're gonna do is grab just a little bit of this sauce, make a nice thin layer of it on the bottom. Just a little bit, not too much. Really kind of just enough to cover the bottom. This is going to ensure that our pasta does not get stuck or burnt to the bottom. All right. You can even add just a little bit of this mixture to kind of just get stuff started, you know. I'm also going to switch over to using a spoon to make our life much easier. Bring your Parmesan over as well. We'll put just a little bit of mozzarella here on this layer. This is just the bottom layer, so it's not that important. We're just doing this to get a little bit extra flavor. All right, now, after letting your pasta chill on the side, it's very possible that it kind of got stuck together a little bit, especially if you didn't put any butter like I did. I didn't put any butter in them. That's okay. Just be careful and slowly peel them apart. That's what I had to do, and it worked out fine. So don't be scared when you see them a little bit lumped up together. All right, these are almost a little bit too long, but that's okay. And our third right over here. All right, now gonna add some more meat. It's fine if it folds over. Burn our salt a little bit. Make sure we're spreading this out nice and evenly. Just gotta double check one thing, I'll be right back. Okay, just as I thought, we made a slight mistake. Apparently it's better to put the ricotta cheese mixture on top of the noodle before putting the meat sauce on top of the noodle. You know what I mean? But that's all right. Google said it's not that big of a deal. Just gonna, there we go. Gonna spread that out. It's gonna be a nice, not too thick layer. You don't want too much. There we go, just like this. Maybe a little more. All right, now it's good. Then we're gonna add mozzarella cheese right on top of that, just a little bit, not too much. Add some Parmesan cheese right on top of that. Also just a little bit, not too much. Gonna get ourselves some more noodles. All right, bam, another noodle. Booyah. I guess this time we'll do it right and put this down first. See how that works out. Do a little flipperoo. There we go. Just like that. I don't really know how much of this I should be putting on there, to be fully honest with you. Meat sauce. Now I guess you could make these layers really as thin or as thick as you want. I think maybe the thicker the layer, you might have to add a little more cook time in the oven. But realistically, all your ingredients except the ricotta cheese egg mixture are fully cooked. So it's not really the end of the world. Either way, if you undercook it a little bit, because that ricotta cheese mixture, as long as this whole dish gets to 165, you're good to go. You got nothing to worry about. More pasta. Let's see if we can get one more layer out of this. Oh, I think we can. We got. We're gonna spread this out. It's a little light on the ricotta. I think I should have been a little more sparing with it, perhaps, on the other layers. It's also kind of seeping through the pastas, but it's okay. Just like that, we'll add just a little bit of mozzarella because we're going to add some more right back on top of this layer to kind of give us like a nice cheesy crust. All right, last bit of that tomato sauce. Sorry, phone stopped recording again, but we got our last layer of the meat sauce done. Now it's time to give a generous covering of mozzarella cheese. Now I use fresh grated cheese for this because apparently that store-bought pre-shredded cheese, they add a chemical to it or some sort of, they add something to it that's an anti-caking agent that prevents the cheese from sticking to each other. And since we're melting this cheese, we kind of want it to stick to each other, right? You know, to kind of be like one nice consistency. So that's why I prefer to shred it myself. We're also gonna add some Parmesan cheese on top of here, just to kind of give us some nice flavor. I should have mixed these two 50-50, or not even 50-50, but I should have mixed them up instead of layering them like this. All right. Now that is your lasagna done, essentially. The only thing left would be to cook this bad boy. Also, I'm gonna, just to make things look a little nicer, just trim up this pasta that's sticking out. Tastes good. Trim that too. All right. All right, now the final step is going to be to wrap this puppy up in some aluminum foil. Ooh, my aluminum foil has seen better days. Look at this. Let's give this a wrap. There we go. All right, so the idea is to wrap this up to cook it, to lock in steam. You're gonna wanna use it covered, cook it wrapped for about half of the time. So we're looking at about 25 to 30 minutes covered, and then another 20-ish minutes uncovered to brown that top, that mozzarella cheese crust, you know, to make it a little crispy with some good color. Do all the cooking at 375. This can stay like this before you cook it all the way in the fridge for 3 to 4 days. And then after it's cooked, you can keep it for another 3 to 4 days. And that's it. 375, 25 minutes covered, 15 to 20 uncovered.